Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another cheeky little stream for you lads and lasses. Just a little rundown of the evening's news and revelations that are coming out in regards to the potential takeover of Manchester United. Thought I'd better jump on and speak about it, as we haven't really covered this topic for a little while because it's bloody boring. Because it's, just more speculative guff. But we will find out what's real and what is the true guff throughout this stream. So good to see you all. Thank you for getting in here. Do us a favor at the start of this stream and smash a like button on this video if you haven't done so. Give it a massive like. Share it around on social media. Give us a retweet. That would be awesome if you could do that. I'd appreciate it. And get yourself involved in the live chat throughout as well. And subscribe if you're new to the channel. Get yourself in there raw and say hello. I'm going to shout out everyone at the start of the show. Mr. Cedric, Matthew Smith, Crazy Joe, Mark Egan, Craig Boy, Kingslayer, Let's Go the Gaming Jew, Fire Up, Mark Egan again. Rajat, how you doing there, my friend? We got Beats Guy in here. What's going on, lad? Matata and Langy86, the Hoop Man, Dean M, Bristonia Mackham, and a highlighted member comment right at the start of the show from the Gaming Jew. Hey, no worries, man. No worries. It's a shame I couldn't get in there, actually. I wanted to get in there and say hello myself, but I was just too busy. Alas, too busy, my friend. Not that I didn't want to, but I had very minimal time to get something to eat and then set this stream up, and it was gash. So there you go. But yes, I hope that a few people came along and said hello, mate, on my behalf. Get in there. Thank you for being a member for 5 months as well. Let's get a #5 in the chat for the Gaming Jew. Hope you had a great stream, my man. Kingslayer, Indy, Luke, Crazy Joe, Richard, Langy, James, Matthew Smith, United Forever, Dan Swagster, and everybody else as well. Yeah, hit that like button, my friends. Give us a share around and all that. Subscribe if you're new. So, what we're going to talk about today, guys? Well, we're going to be talking about getting those pesky Glazers out of this football club, hopefully. And there is new revelations this evening, reports coming out that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a step closer to convincing the Glazers to sell to him, essentially. We know that there was a little bit of, discrepancies, I suppose, between the two different bidders. You've got on the one side, you've got Sheikh Jassim, who are interested in a full purchase of the football club, i.e. getting rid of all those pesky Glazer toads. You've also got Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who was interested in taking a lesser amount of the football club, a controlling stake in the football club, and allowing the Glazers to keep somewhere in the region of about 20% for a couple of the Glazers, to keep them on board in some capacity, but he gets the controlling stake, i.e. Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And there's reports coming out this evening that from the Times and various other places that the Glazers are closer to being convinced that Sir Jim is the right way to go in terms of the potential takeover of this football club. So here's the reports here. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has moved a significant step closer to securing Manchester United with the Glazers and their New York bankers ready to discuss details of a sale with the British petrochemicals billionaire. Oh my God, how long does it take these guys to operate, by the way, guys? We've had 3 rounds of bidding. There's also the chance there might even be more bids coming in now because of this latest situation with Sir Jim getting reportedly closer to buying, the football club from the Glazers and keeping them on board in some capacity, guys. It's an absolute shambles. Or can I just say that? I mean, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe buys the football club, buys 51% of the football club and keeps the Glazer shithouses on board with 20% of the football club, he can damn himself all the way to Hades as far as I'm concerned, guys, because he's just adding to the problem. I mean, we don't necessarily know what sort of an impact it would have if he was to buy, the football club, get a majority stake essentially in the club, if he's going to actually invest in the football club. But it seems like he's scrimping and saving just to get where he can with this deal, even going as far as to keep the shithouse Glazers on board in some capacity, which basically means that, we're probably not going to have the spending power that we want to have, or that we could have if we had Sheikh Jassim and the Qatari-based owners as our owners. That's, I think, pretty apparent, really. So this whole Sir Jim Ratcliffe takeover possibility is actually looking pretty dark, if you ask me. I'm not too keen on the idea of it at all. But anyway, we've got Sir Jim reportedly keeping on the Glazers, potentially 51% of the club is what's being reported around there anyway. There is lots and lots of information coming out just to give you a bit more background on this. So essentially the reports are that Sheikh Jassim could be tempted to put in an 11th hour bid and maybe try and clutch this deal by increasing his initial offer. There were reports that he'd reached a limit somewhere in the region of £5 billion. He wasn't prepared to go beyond that because he knows that the Glazers are taking the piss. They bought it for 800 million of debt money, and he put a good offer on the table. But because Sir Jim's offer may give them slightly more value when you consider the percentage of the football club that he's offering to buy, rather than what Sheikh Jassim is offering, which is 100%, per percent, they may be better off taking the Sir Jim Ratcliffe deal, because there's less of the club that they're going to obviously have to sell. They get to keep a stake in the club for a start, and they still make a hefty amount of money. And then Sheikh Jassim, he's going to have to perhaps come in now with an 11th hour bid, as are the reports, to try and outdo Sir Jim Ratcliffe here. So there's lots of claims that have been surfacing this evening, and we'll get into them all throughout this show. Chris Koo with a super chat. Thank you for your £2 super chat here, you legend. He says the Sheikh will go and buy Tottenham after this. You watch. Come on now, he's not mental. He's not mental in the head, is he? What does he want to go buy that club for, mate? An absolute complete calamity of a football club with the dustiest cabinet ever. He better have a good cleaner if he's going to go and buy Spurs. But in all fairness, look, Chris Koo, if we miss out on Sheikh Jassim, it is a big loss, mate, because this guy and his family, they're worth billions and billions and billions and billions. And it's like, okay, some people might want to have Sir Jim because of the English vibe, but really, he's probably going to budget us, and he's probably going to keep us reasonably shackled. Whereas I think Sheikh Jassim and his party, they would be quite keen on just making Man United as good as we could possibly be, which is where I'm at, really. Ruddy Can't Game, thank you for your highlighted member comment, being a member for 40 months. Let's go. Hashtag 40 for the Ruddinator. Let's get a 40 in there. That's a long time, mate. Thank you for being a member for 40 months. Count them. 40 months. That is obscene. He says, Sheikh bin Ruddy will sort you guys out. Please come and buy us, Ruddy, mate. If you got the means, we got the ears to listen, my friend. Yeah, that'd be nice. Oh, nice one, Wiggy. Good to have you in here, bud. Thank you, everybody else who's getting in here as well. So, anyway, listen, guys, I'm pissed off with this news. It's really quite apparent it's going to take a little bit longer as well. So, look, this is the latest we've got from sort of Sheikh Jassim's side of things. The Times reporting that sources close to the Qataris believe that they remain part of the process, and it could yet be that they respond with an 11th hour bid that forces the Glazers to reconsider. So there are various reports coming out that the Glazers are essentially very happy, and they've got a preference for Sir Jim Ratcliffe because of the weight of the bid that he's put in there. Not necessarily the overall amount, but the fact that he's only looking for a controlling stake. He's not looking for the whole shebang. And in terms of the percentage-wise, it probably works out a little bit more money for them. Plus, they get to stay on board with a percentage owned still of the football club, which suits them down to the ground because they know that they can use this football club as a cash cow. I mean, they wouldn't really be going anywhere, I don't think, if it wasn't necessarily for the amount of absolute pure hatred from the fan base and the backlash. Let's get a hashtag Glazers out in the live chat, because they're all pretty content with their role at the football club, which is just to milk dry Manchester United every single season. And they've been doing that successfully for 17 years. So nothing would really want to change for them. The only reasons they would sell is if they stand to make a huge amount of money by walking away and selling the football club. Or, or the backlash from the fan base just gets too heated to the point where it becomes an untenable position for them, which is sort of where we've been at for the last couple of years. Everybody wants these toads out. Let's get a hashtag Glazers out in the live chat, my friends. Absolutely. So, so look, it's very frustrating, guys. There's potential for Sir Jim to be the number one preference for the Glazers at the moment. That's what it seems to be the case. And like I say, there's two rival bidders that are sort of on the table here. You've got a full sale takeover, essentially, from Sheikh Jassim, which would be better for us because it gets the Glazers out of this football club and it gives us a heck of a lot of money. It's understood to be worth around about £5 billion. And it, as I say, it entails a full purchase of the football club, and the Glazers would be fully bought out. Whereas Ratcliffe's proposal is a partial purchase, essentially, and he would acquire the controlling stake, but the Glazers would still keep hold of around about 20% of the football club. I mean, we don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want the Glazers to be involved at all. And then there's also reports that they would be bought out in 2026 via put and call arrangements. So that's really what the deal sort of stands at with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He's going to snake the club for 51% and then keep the Glazers on board for a few years. And that's the idea. Now, I'm just going to ask the live chat, guys, based on what we discussed in this video and based on this latest situation, who would you rather see come in as Manchester United's next owners? Let us know in the live chat. I mean, I guess if it means the Glazers go out long term, either would be fine. But if we're being totally honest now, Sheikh Jassim with 100% ownership of the club sounds a heck of a lot better, especially when you consider the backing that they've got behind them, the amount of money that they would have to spend freely at Manchester United. Otherwise, it's just going to be a case of us in a similar position to where we're at now, not fully investing in all the areas, not going to get the new stadiums, not going to get the new state-of-the-art facilities, not going to get all the best top players in the world that we could do. Like, if we get Sheikh Jassim, we could go and get Mbappe, you could go and get Osterman, you could go and get De Jong, you could go and get Bellingham, you could go and get Rice. But if you don't do that, then the chances of us going to get those players are lessened. We would be more likely to go and get some budget, small bollocks options. The Sheikh, Qatar in, oil all day, Qatar all the way, says Lang86. Yep, Chris Koo says the clue's in the name, Ratcliffe. Dan Swagster says United won't be any better off than they are now with Sir Jim. I kind of feel you. I feel the same way as you actually now, bud, with what's been said and what's going on and the amount that they're proposing to buy from the Glazers and buy the football club for. It seems like it's just going to be a scrimp job, an absolute scrimp job of buying Manchester United rather than having the sugar daddy takeover that we probably all deserve. It's going to be another scrimp job, mate. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see Manchester United shackled anymore by the toads that be, i.e. the Glazers and a potential new Glazer type guy. Because that's all Sir Jim Ratcliffe is basically seeming like at this moment in time. But lots of different reports suggesting that Sheikh Jassim and Qataris are not deterred at the moment, guys. Reports are that they're not deterred, even though they've heard that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is essentially the preference for the Glazers because of the details of the deal. There are reports that from the Times say that Sheikh Jassim could look to essentially swing the balance of this whole situation by putting in a fourth proposal. So we've had 3 different rounds of bidding for this football club so far, which has taken us to this stage. The Glazers, at the start of all of this, were reported to want somewhere close to £6 billion, which is pretty insane, really, when you consider the debts that the club has and, the facilities being a little bit downtrodden, i.e. leaky roofs and all the rest of it. And the fact that they bought it for £800 million worth of debt money a while ago, I mean, that might be a little bit redundant because that's not really how value works. Man United is an expensive football franchise. It really is. It would be it should be the most expensive football club to ever trade hands, really. But £6 billion is what they wanted. It's pretty insane. Reportedly, there's a bit of a deficit of £1 billion between the two parties at the moment. The Glazers want 6, and Sheikh Jassim, they only wanted to go to £5 billion. That's a lot of money. But perhaps, I guess, if Sheikh Jassim really wanted this football club and really saw value in Manchester United and wanted to use it as a plaything or whatever the case may be, then maybe they may well increase the amount of money in the next couple of days. Let's hope so, because if not, then it probably will end up in the grubby hands of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, guys, alongside with the Glazers in the background as a couple of little lackeys. And they're just laughing and counting their profits all the way to the bank. I think that's probably what's going to happen, unless Sheikh just seems prepared to go in there and have an improved offer. So we'll have to wait and see, guys. It could be a case of the Glazers have already decided that Sir Jim gives the best value, as they get to keep 20% of the club and they can generate a huge amount of money. Or it may well be the case that they're just looking for more money and they don't care where it comes from. And if Sheikh Jassim wants to up the bid and go in there with a substantial improvement of an offer, then they will listen to him and they will take that offer and they will ride off into the sunset with close to £6 billion. I mean, that could be the case. But I don't really know if that's on the cards, really, guys. We'll have to wait and see what happens over the next couple of days. There could well be a bid from the Sheikh. The Vootinator, thank you for your highlighted member comment, bro. Let's go. Let's get a hashtag 31 in there for Vooty. He says, Jim 2 Bob out. Leechers out. We don't want either. Love that. Jim 2 Bob, like that, mate. Yeah, that's it. He's just going to shackle us again, I think, guys. Having looked at all of the data, having seen the different options for the bidders, having looked at their financials, having looked at the thoughts of, oh, he's looking to buy 51% of the football club. I mean, that's a big red flag right there. It doesn't mean that Manchester United is going to reach its full potential. We're going to be hindered and shackled, just like previously with the Glazers, in my opinion. We don't want to be shackled anymore. Manchester United is this all-powerful beast. It's got the best fan base in the world. It's got the best history and tradition in the world. And it deserves to have the best of the best. It doesn't deserve to be shackled. It doesn't deserve to be lacking in certain areas. It doesn't deserve to be hindered in the transfer window or anywhere else. We should actually be going out there and having more financial power than anybody else. I'll tell you why. Because the Premier League is the most richest, best league in the world in terms of world football. It just is. It's the best domestic league. It's the most watched domestic league. It's the most popular around the world. Manchester United, whether you want to admit it or not right now in terms of on the football pitch, but historically, we're the biggest and best football club in the land. We've got the 20 titles. You know, we've got we've got 3 Champions Leagues. We've got a lot of trophies in our cabinet. Yeah, the only real claims that you could make to say who's the second or first biggest club in this country, historically speaking, are from the Scousers. And the Scousers have won 1 Premier League title in its entire 30 years entirety. So they shouldn't even be in a conversation, if you ask me. Man United is the biggest club in England. And it is historically the best club in England. So we should be able to compete with anybody. We should have the best of the best. We should have absolutely everything that we need to be able to be the best football club in the world and continue to be the best. Fortunately, because of the Glazers, we're not. And if we got Sir Jim Ratcliffe in here, we'd probably continue not to be also. So we don't want that, guys. We should have the best of the best, and we shouldn't be wanting for anything, which is why Sheikh Jassim makes a lot more sense from now on. Absolutely, Sly Dog. Absolutely. So, yeah, you know, we are the best club in the best league in the world. We should have the best of everything. We should have the best stadium, the best facilities, and the best players. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday on my FIFA stream randomly. Like somebody said, came in and somebody asked me the question, forget who now, my apologies, but they said, okay, so if you were being honest, who would you rather have in terms of your squad right now? Man United squad or Man City squad? And it's like, hang on a second. If we're being totally honest, when you factor in, oh, okay, yeah, Bruno's a great lad and Rashford's Manc born and bred, and, you know, there's a few, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't even compare, really. How are we failing? How are we really, really paling in comparison to Manchester Shitty? It's an absolute disgrace. The only reason is because of the Glazer shithouses and their absolute mismanagement and terrible investment in all areas of this football club for a long time. When they have spent money, they've spent it poorly. And so I've got no reason to believe that keeping them on board in some capacity and having Sir Jim as the face of it with 51% is going to do much else to change that, guys. We need big time, Billy Big Bollocks investment from new owners. We need huge investment in all areas. We need the best stadium. We need the best facilities. We need the best players. We need all of that. And I don't think that's going to come with Sir Jim. Matty Gwinnett, thank you for your £5 super chat here, you legend. Let's go. Let's get a cheeky little hell yeah in the chat for him. He says, Pig. It's like those horror films where the twist is a good guy was a bad guy all along. That's Sir Jim Ratass. Next 10 years will be the same. Matt Gwinnett, thank you for that, bud. I quite agree with you, mate. I quite agree with you. I know he's got this nice face. Look at his face on the thumbnail. It looks like a nice guy. But none of these people are really that nice, guys. If we're being totally honest, if you've amassed a fortune of 5 to 15 billion pounds and you're a chemical company, or, you know, not you are a chemical company, but you own a chemical company that makes billions, then I'm sorry to say you're probably a little bit morally redundant in certain aspects. You know what I mean? And you are just a cold, callous businessman. I think anybody who gets to that point, more or less is. There might be a few outliers, but more or less, if you are getting to the point where you're amassing billions, you're probably a bit of a shithouse. Just saying that right now, because there's a lot of good that you could be doing in the world rather than exploitation, essentially. And I think there's a lot of that going on. So I'm not a big fan of any of these potential new owners, but certainly we don't want somebody who's going to hinder this football club, act like they're going to make all these radical changes, and then it's just going to be more of the same. That would be absolutely frustrating. Thank you very much, Bobby Sands. I appreciate you, mate. Get in there. Dutch Christ says, F-slur Jim Ratcliffe. There's no morals in football. If you can't beat them, join them. Qatar in all day. Fortune favours the fortunate. Love that, Dutch Christ. Nice one, yeah. Okay, so let's give you the rest of it then, guys. So reports are that they're closing in on a successful takeover at Man United. British-born billionaire's bid sees him favoured ahead of main rival Qatari Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmed Al Thani. So a final decision on who will actually get this is expected to last a while, though. It's not expected it's going to come anytime soon. This is what's very frustrating about this whole matter. We want this over and done with. We want Sheikh Jassim in here. We want to get rid of the Glazers, and we want new owners, and we want it now. But unfortunately, this is going to go on a little bit longer, and we've talked about the implications that could have. This is going to cause us issues for the acquisition of new players in the summer. It's going to be difficult for us to compete in the start of the transfer window, I think, with all of this hanging over our heads. We've still got to hope that these owners come in soon so that we can start planning. Yes, we might acquire 1 or 2 players, but it seems a little bit strange to do so when you don't necessarily know what the budget could be. I mean, who knows? The new owners might come in and say, hey, we want to go in a different direction with the manager. I don't think they will, because Ten Hag's done a really good job, but you know, in terms of like, you just don't know. You can't really go out there and spunk loads of money you don't have. The Glazers aren't going to go and spend 150 million or 200 million on players and then sell the football club. It doesn't really add up. Surely they want to get this club sold before they're looking to invest huge amounts of money right now in the playing squad. And surely as new owners coming in, you would like to have that blank canvas to work with and have that at the start of the transfer window. But unfortunately, it's not that far away until the transfer window actually opens. And if we've not got this all done and dusted and sorted out with new owners in it, we are going to be hindered. We are going to be behind a lot of the other clubs that could go out there and maybe snatch out a few players in the transfer window that we had our eye on. But that's the risk we're taking here. And the Glazers don't care, because the Glazers just want as much money as they could possibly get. And if it takes them a bit longer, if it takes Sheikh Jassim a bit longer to come in with another bid, or they can just try and squeeze a little bit more money out of this whole situation, then they will. And that hurts Manchester United, because in the summertime, we need to be going out there and being proactive with signing transfers and getting new players in. And we're just going to be hindered. That's a big concern for me. It's just the fact that we will be hindered by them, whichever which way which happens, whether it's Sheikh Jassim, whether it's Sir Jim Ratcliffe. We could miss out on players by doing this, by taking so long about it. And they've taken so long about it already. It's already been months that we've been discussing this, and months of different rounds of bidding. We're up to our 3rd round of bidding, could be on to our 4th round of bidding if Sheikh Jassim is going to have another cheeky little bid in there. So reports are Ratcliffe is slightly ahead in terms of the possibility, but it remains to be seen whether or not Sheikh Jassim will now lodge a final attempt basically to snatch the club away from Sir Jim. We have to wait and see over the next coming days whether that's going to be the case. So they haven't conceded defeat or anything. Reports are that they are still interested. They still feel like they're, they've got the possibility of buying the football club, and they may well come back with another bid. So there was reportedly a deadline previously of the 3rd round of bidding a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago. But in regards to that, I mean, it doesn't really mean much. If you come back with an improved offer with an extra $500 million on the table, or a bidding on the table, then they will listen, and they're going to obviously undo any deal that they've done with Sir Jim Ratcliffe or any sort of provisos that they've made in order to get extra money, because that's all they really care about. So, yeah, I mean, it depends what the Glazers want. Half of the Glazers are reported to want to stay. Half of them are reported to want to go. In regards to the Glazers, with Sir Jim, they would be able to stay in some capacity with, say, 20% ownership. They wouldn't be able to do that with Sheikh Jassim at the wheel. But if Sheikh Jassim does convince them to sell, it would be for a lot of money. So they'd have to cash out 100% of their chips, and it would have to be made worthwhile for them, which at the moment, I mean, this could just be all PR guff, by the way. It could just be a case of the Glazers are just trying to get more money out of Sheikh Jassim, so they're drip feeding this PR nonsense to the media to make it seem like they are close to doing a deal with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and he's going to take 51% of the club and they're going to remain on with 20%. That could actually be the case. It could still be a whole load of PR guff in order to try and convince Sheikh Jassim to up his bid. So yes, there will be reports, there will be some information coming out very soon, hopefully, in regards to what's going on next. Will Sheikh Jassim come in for another bid? Let's ask the live chat, guys. Smash a 1 if you think that Sheikh Jassim will be coming in with an improved offer to try and outdo Sir Jim Ratcliffe on this deal. Or smash a 2 if you think that he's going to stick to his guns and that it's going to be a case of Sir Jim probably winning. Let us know what you guys think. Hey, Rushmano, what's going on, you absolute legend? Exactly, Rushmano. He says Manchester United under Ratcliffe equals dead club. I agree. It's just like another incarnation of the Glazer shithousery, just extended to Sir Jim, mate. It'd just be exactly the same, wouldn't it? It doesn't do us any favours. Nelly G, what's going on? Says, hey, I'm a Manchester United fan, but I don't want rat fraud at our club. He isn't that wealthy. Exactly. We're going to be scrimping and saving even worse than the Glazers, probably. Yeah, absolutely, Rushy says, all about extraction techniques by the Glazer shithouses. Absolutely, I think you're right. So a lot of ones coming in the live chat here. Notos and Stoic Savage and John Hinton think that we will see another bid from Sheikh Jassim. Indy and John Allen and Mr. Cedric say no, it will probably be going to Sir Jim. You think they're bidding up Qatar? Yeah, you could be right, People's Game, and I think you're right. I think you're generally right. I mean, I still think this could well be PR guff from the Glazers, drip feeding this to the media and just trying to get more money out of the Qataris. I really do. I think that makes a lot of sense. Jonathan says you can't buy Success Pig, you've got to earn it. Well, that's true as well, but it becomes easier if you've got backing with owners who have, hundreds of billions behind them. It does become easier, and if they've got the wherewithal to want to actually improve Manchester United. See, what we don't want is another businessman who's coming in here to shackle United and just sort of, have it as an asset and to generate them cash and pay out these dividends and try and increase the commerciality of the football club and all that sort of stuff. I don't really care. I don't care about that. What I want is owners who, I do prefer the sugar daddy model to that. If you look at, say, Man City or Roman Abramovich at Chelsea, okay, you can criticize them all you want, and they are scum. But in regards to having the owners that are just like not thinking about the financials, but are just thinking about trying to make the football club as good as it can be, that's what we want. We want somebody who wants to make this football club as good as it can be, which is where Sheikh Jassim comes in. Hello, Theatre MUFC Leafs fan, welcome in, and Simon Warner, great to have you all in here. By the way, guys, if you're just joining the stream, please do us a favour and hit that like button on it. Let's get this sucker to 100 likes. We're nearly there. Let's have a little Bacon Brigade like spike. It helps the channel out, and it's free, so you might as well smash that like button. Smash a like if you want Glazers out. And it also helps us compete with clickbaiters and corporation mugs. So smash that like button and hit the subscribe button, of course, if you're new to the channel as well. Hey there, Eddie's Football Waffle. He says, big up Piggo and the crew. Is this update official or just more hype? I hear Sheikh Jassim was front running the other week. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly no official. There's certainly nothing going to be official about this, Eddie. To be honest, it's not like this is going to be reported on, by Manchester United or anything. This is from the Times, essentially, and various different other reports that come out, from different sources, which are all just rags. Really, like I said at the start of the show, it's just like this is speculative stuff. It's could be PR guff from the Glazers. There could be some truth to it. I mean, like I say, the Times are reporting this, but it certainly doesn't mean that it's that it's 100% the case. That's really absolutely where we're at. It's probably bollocks, to be honest with you, but let's have a look. So this was the report from the Times. It said Sir Jim Ratcliffe has moved a significant step closer to securing Manchester United with the Glazers, and then New York bankers ready to discuss details of a sale with the British petrochemicals billionaire. So, yeah, I mean, take from that what you will. It could be the case. That's what the Times are reporting. But does that mean it's official? Absolutely not. Is it just a vehicle for the Glazers to extract more money out of the potential new owners from Qatar? Yeah, probably. I'll have to wait and see, but probably it is. So there's a big media machine and a big circus going around all of this, isn't there? So, yeah, there could well be a bid, though, coming from Sheikh Jassim. We'll have to wait and see in regards to that, guys. Lots of different outlets are reporting it there, as I say. Yeah, People's Gaming, so right. Share prices were down 8%. Can you imagine if Ratcliffe gets it? I can only imagine it would absolutely tank. Then again, most takeovers, they usually have a big increase in things like this. But if Sir Jim gets it, long term, it's going to absolutely tank. Surely, I mean, nobody's going to want to back that. In terms of the fan base, right? The fan base, 90% of the fan base would rather not have Sir Jim Ratcliffe because he seems skint. It's funny to say that about somebody who's worth like 5 to 15 billion, but his initial investment is much smaller than Sheikh Jassim's potential investment. Sheikh Jassim wants the whole pie for 5 billion quid. Sir Jim just wants 51%. Why is that? If you've got all this money, why would you keep the Glazers on board in any capacity? So it seems like he's a bit of a scrimpster. And that's not something that Manchester United want, That's not something what we want. We don't want another scrimpster. We've already got the Glazers, who are the biggest scrimping melters going, who have shackled us in many ways. We've still got a leaky roof stadium that needs a lot of work, if not completely rebuilding. So, that is where we're at, really. We are a club that's been hindered by our owners for a long time. And if we're going to go forward as a football club, and not just continue in the same vein of what we're doing right now. We don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe, as far as I'm concerned, because he's not going to solve the problem. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, either the Qataris win this process or the fans take over 51% of the club's stakes, in my opinion, regardless of what happened. Well, if only we could, if only we had the say in it, you know, if only that was a possibility. But it's very difficult to get the Glazers to part ways with their club or part ways with any percentage of their football club without being seriously financially remunerated, which they will be either which way they go with here. So as we were talking about at the start of the show, Sir Jim's offer is a much lesser offer, but it's percentage-wise it might be a lot better because it's only 51%, it's not 100%, and in terms of the actual amount offered, it's more pounds per percent. So that's why they'd be so interested in doing a deal with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Plus, they get to stay on board and keep milking the teat of Manchester United. It's a disgrace, really. But exactly, Nelly G, if Qatari wins, though, we are richer than City. Absolutely. So, you know, you've got the Newcastle United with Saudi Arabian owners. You've got Manchester City with significantly rich owners. There's a lot of these super rich football clubs in the Premier League. And if we're going to compete with them going forward, we probably need owners that are of that same mould. There's no ideal candidate out there for United, but certainly I think with everything analysed, if you look at all the different possibilities, you know, of the different owners, Sheikh just seems better. He just seems better. Exactly there, Stoic Savage. Oil money equals red panty night incoming. Yeah, exactly. Noto says Ratcliffe would be a billionaire version of Ed Woodward, a lackey. There you go. I know. He's going to say all the right things and do another, I think. I think he will just be that kind of owner. Kind of like the Glazers are now, where they always say these things. They say they talk a good talk. Oh, we're always interested in doing what's best for the football club. We're going to spend loads of money on the football club. Meanwhile, the roof is fecking leaking. They might have spent $1 billion, well over $1 billion on, you know, different players. And on the face of it, that's fine, but it's not true investment in all the club. Why are we being left behind in terms of youth recruitment? Why are we being left behind in terms of scouting networks? Why are we being left behind when it comes to signing all these up-and-coming new talents that we could have gone and got? Why did we scrimp out on Erling Haaland and let him go to Dortmund? Why did we scrimp out on Julian Alvarez and let him go to City? And the list goes on and on. There's so many different possibilities of players we could have gone and got that we just decided not to because we've scrimped, because we've thought about the financials too much rather than just trying to improve the football club. City, on the other hand, will just chuck money at all these different players. And if some of them don't work out, they don't care. Scott Sinclair, see you later on, go to Scotland. You know, it goes even all those years ago. You know, it goes right back to then, guys. They just basically played an acquisition game. They acquired so many different players. Some of them found their feet. Some of them didn't. Roque Santa Cruz right in the early days. You know, whoever it may be. They just got all these players in, signed them for huge money. Robinho and all these guys going way back. We're going way back now. But it's true, until they've got to the point now where they've built this insane team with Haaland and De Bruyne and Rodri and all these guys in there, where they've kept the good and they've got rid of the bad and they've just chucked money at it non-stop. Well, I'm sorry, but in this current day and age with teams like City, who are trying to do that by imposing that model, Manchester United have to do similar. We can't really be left behind anymore. So we've got to get the new owners in who are prepared to do that sort of thing. Who are prepared to spend hard cash on the best players around. We're not really prepared to do that right now. We're just not. We spent a lot of money under the Glazers, sure, but only on the face of it. We've not spent it elsewhere. Only on players, and they've got that wrong a lot of the time, i.e. spending £80 million on a fecking hot point fridge in Slabby Maguire, for instance. Nelly G thinks Newcastle will win the league next season. I'm not so sure, but I tell you what, they're in a good position, aren't they? Because they've got backing from the owners. They've got an ambitious board. They've got an ambitious set of owners who want to spend money. They haven't even begun to spend the money yet. They've got a great manager who they're backing. They've got a good squad at the moment. But tell you what, with a couple of $100 million spent this summer, they'll have a much better squad. And I think Eddie Howe's a very good manager. They will be up there challenging probably next season. Same goes for Manchester City, of course. Arsenal are doing better these days. They'll probably melt off and finish in 6th place, though, next season, because that's what Arsenal are like. They've had their day in the sun where they've started to challenge for the title, and they'll probably bottom it next season. But there's a lot of teams, what I'm saying, the point I'm making is there's a lot of teams that are trying to improve. There's a lot of teams that are constantly striving and trying to challenge for the title. And unless Manchester United have that level of ambition, we're just going to have another mediocre season next season. We need to have the ambition to be able to go out there and sign big players. I'm talking about the best players in the world, guys. I'm not talking about any old twats. I'm talking about the best players in the world that you have to spend huge money on. The Osmans of this world, the Bellinghams of this world, the Declan Rices of this world. So David Moyes has come out and, just to quote him, he said there's a good chance that Declan Rice leaves West Ham this summer. He's admitted that there's a good chance that Declan Rice leaves. And, he said that it's probably going to take 120 million or somewhere in that region, or around 100 million pounds. Sorry, he's valued at around 100 million pounds. And he said ahead of the Brentford game, he said, we honestly hope that Declan stays. We'd love for him to be a West Ham player, but we're aware that might not be the case at the end of the season. So that's one of the scenarios around planning. There are plans that we have Dec here, but we're also fully aware that there's a good chance that we won't have him. And in regards to the amount of money it would take to go and get a player like that, it's a heck of a lot of money. But Man United would need to have ambition to go and sign the best sort of players that we can get. And a 24-year-old Declan Rice is an investment. It's not just a player that's going to help out for a short time. It's a good player for the next decade. So that's why it would be a good signing. And Man United should be looking at getting players like that. And the De Jongs of this world, and the Bellinghams of this world, and the Osmans, and the Mbappes, and the Harry Kanes. And all these sorts of players is what we should be striving towards, not just settling for some melters. Rushmano, thank you for the £20 super chat, you absolute don. Let's go. Thank you for that, Rushmano. Let's get a hell yeah in the live chat, please. For Mr. Rushmano, thank you very much, bud. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, dude. Let's get a hell yeah in the chat. He says, hearing that if Ratcliffe does buy United and passes away in the next 5 years, then United will be controlled by Ineos and its shareholders, who will more than likely sell the club. I mean, that's shocking, isn't it, Rushmano, to be fair? I mean, we don't want to be owned by a chemical company, in all fairness, do we? We don't want to be owned by a chemical company and having a chemical company's board of directors essentially running this football club. I mean, if they were to sell it straight away in that eventuality, then okay, fair enough. But we certainly do not want, anybody who's not got a true invested interest in this football club, other than just making money, to be running the club and making any football decisions. We've had that before under the shithouse Glazers and potato head Eddie Woody Woodward. And look how that worked out for us. So, that would be a big concern, wouldn't it? Thank you so much, Rushmano, for getting in here with the raw super chat, lad, there. I appreciate that a lot. Nice one, dude. Absolute don. By the way, keep hitting that like button, everyone. We're going to get into the live chat for a Q&A in a little bit. We've just smashed 100 likes. Baby, we did it. Break out the red panties. We just did it, guys. Thank you for hitting the like button on it. Give us a share around somewhere as well, and subscribe if you're new to the channel also. But anyway, things like that. Things like signing Rice for 100 million. Things like signing De Jong and Bellingham and Mbappe. I mean, we talked about this before, but in regards to Kylian Mbappe, yeah, that's a player I'd like to see play for Man United. He's a bit of a prima donna melt bag, but he is one of the world's best players and world's best goal scorers and creators, and he's just a dangerous player. Like, if Man United want to strive to compete with City and strive to compete with players that they've got, like Erling Haaland scoring 35 goals a season, we have to go there and sign the best players that we can. Well, I'll tell you what, there's no chance in hell we could do a deal like that if Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the owner. Whereas if we have Sheikh Jassim, you just never know. He could pull a few strings. There's that whole Qatar influence over at PSG anyway. But aside from that, they might be the type of owners that are prepared to spend £200 million on a player, on one player, just to lay down that marker, to lay down ambition, just to say, hey, look, we are going to do something special at this football club. I could see it happening if we have Sheikh Jassim, but I could not see that happening with Sir Jim. So I'm definitely rooting for Qatar owners all day now. Jimmy the Scrimpster, says Nigel, mascot walking around Old Trafford. No, exactly. The mustache says, haha, Bellingham and Mbappe, you bonkers. I mean, why wouldn't you want Bellingham and Mbappe? If you're asking me whether or not it's realistic, right now, with our Glazer shithouse owners, of course it's not realistic. What I'm saying is, if we had Sheikh Jassim with hundreds of billions, if you think that we couldn't go and sign a player like Bellingham or a player like Mbappe, then I think you're bonkers, because we're talking about hundreds of billions here. Man United is an amazing football club that can provide anything. It can provide everything that any player really wants. And let's say Mbappe's a little bit annoyed over at PSG, or Bellingham, doesn't decide to go to Real or whatever it may be. You give him a huge money offer, you give him the incentives, you've got this project here with Ten Hag, you've got new owners with hundreds of billions backing behind them and the prospects of winning things for a decade. Why wouldn't that interest players like that? That's all I'm saying. Right now, no. But if we have new owners, yes, new owners like Sheikh Jassim with that ambition to make this club the best club in the world, then yes, of course we could sign anybody. Of course we could. But not with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Rushmano says no final decision till next week now. Glazer's expecting the piss out of a pair of dry pants. Exactly, yeah. So I saw that earlier. I think Mike Keegan reporting from the Daily Mail and various other sources are suggesting that there is going to be no real movement on this for a good while. It's a case of them, like you say, Rushmano, trying to get piss out of a dry pair of pants, as you put it, to literally try and squeeze a little bit more out of these Qatari bidders. I think that's really where we're at with it, isn't it? Okay then, guys. So, yes, I'm going to get into the live chat now for a bit of a Q&A, you legends. Just one quick story that is picking up a bit of heat, actually, very briefly. It's not to do with the takeover, but, obviously this is another speculative story because, like I say, until we've got new owners, until there's an actual battle plan in the transfer window, it's not 100%, is it? But Kim Min-jae over at Napoli, guys, is heavily being linked to Manchester United this summer. So there's another player from Napoli that's being linked to us there, Kim Min-jae. You may have seen a lot of this today going around. Lots of reports coming out. I think Fabrizio Romano's confirmed that Manchester United have an interest in him as well. Smash a one if you'd be interested in taking a bit of Kim Min-jae action at the football club, guys. Let us know. I mean, obviously it's speculative because, like I say, you would think that the new owners would want to be in the football club before we start signing any players. And you would also think, that they're not going to want, the Glazers are not going to want to spend any big money before there's an actual full sellers football club or etc. Or if it's all completely done and dusted yet. You would think that's going to be the case. So, yeah. Yeah, he's a taller Martinez, says Matt Gwynner. Rajat says 2. You want Bella Kochap. Indy says 2. No. Kim and Gyro says Alex Core. Well, anyway, so there's a little bit of a little bit of debate going on there, but Theatre says yes, he would. Top centre back, but one must leave first. Harry Maguire out to Kettering Town. That's what we need, isn't it? We just need him to do one immediately. No, that's it. Hopefully Harry Maguire gets sold in the summer. Hopefully somebody even wants Harry Maguire to be prepared to actually take him. Hopefully he's prepared to go somewhere. I mean, he's not going to feature in Gareth Southgate's England squad if he's not playing at all at Manchester United. I say that, but he is at the moment, isn't he? He's still in his England squad right now. But going forward, surely he's going to not be able to be selective if he's not playing at all. If he's just sat on the bench all the time. So hopefully we get rid. Okay, so I'm going to get into the live chat now, guys. So yes, there's a little bit of a link to Kim Min-jae anyway. Let us know what you guys think about the stories we discussed today. Big news in regards to Sir Jim reportedly being the preference for the Glazers and reportedly making a little bit of headway in regards to this deal, i.e. keeping the Glazers on board with some shithouse tactics and taking a majority stake in the football club and having a controlling stake, i.e. 51% of the football club. But certainly not a full sale like would be the case with Sheikh Jassim. So there you go, guys. That's basically it. And at this moment, as it stands, reports are that Sir Jim's a significant step closer to securing Manchester United, with the Glazers preferring him. But the Qataris are understood to be they're believed to be still interested. They're believed to still have the possibility that they may respond with an 11th hour bid that forces the Glazers to reconsider, maybe upping their bid to £5.5 billion, might get the job done. So this could just well be a big squeeze from the Glazers PR-wise to try and get something extra from the potential new buyers. There you go. Right, let's get into the live chat, guys. Thanks, everyone, for getting in here and listening to the latest update. Smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you want to have your say. You do need to be subscribed to chat. Then you'll be able to chat after you've been subscribed just for 0 seconds. Yeah, Rushmano says United willing to double Kim's wages. Kim Jae will be very good, says Rajat. Yeah, maybe we could send off Maguire in the opposite direction. I doubt they'd want him, though. Ronnie Dodge, thank you for the £2 super chat here, lad. Let's go. Let's get a hell yeah in there for Ronnie. Thank you, Ronnie Dodge. He says, if it's Sir Jim, just back Eric. That's all I want. I suppose, listen, if it's Sir Jim, what can we really do about it? I mean, we can protest. But it's just going to set an awful precedent for the football club going forward. It's like, if we imagine the elation if the Glazers left, and we've got new owners in who are going to spend loads of money, i.e. Sheikh Jassim. It's going to just cause a big shitstorm, I think, if we get Sir Jim in, because it's going to turn from the Glazers out to Sir Jim and the Glazers out. That's all it's going to do, really. The protest from the fan base will still be there. The ambition of the football club probably won't be realised, and it's probably just going to be more of the same. So I don't really see how that avenue even works for the football club long term. I think it would just be a poor decision from everybody involved. The Glazers can cut, shut and run and get 5 billion in the bank and do one. And then, and we, obviously they won't get the whole percentage of that because I believe they own 69%, but you know what I mean. They will get a significant amount of money and they can piss off into the sunset. And then we get what we want and the club gets what it wants. And everybody's happy, and Sheikh Jassim gets what he wants. With Sir Jim buying the football club, nobody gets what they want, really, apart from the shithouse Sir Jim and the Glazers. But if they want to go down that road, so be it. But I don't think it's going to get a very good response from us or all us fans. Sega Matale, what's going on? He says the Glazers are just trying to force the Qataris to raise more cash. Absolutely, as we've said many times throughout this show today, I agree with you. I think it's a PR move in order for them to generate more cash from the potential new Qatari bidders. Absolutely. Rather have Osman than Haaland, says Dutch Christ. I mean, that's a bold move, to be fair. Maguire's parents don't even want him, never mind the club, says the Hoop Man. Ten Hag's a win, says Irfane Kadili. You want 5 or 6 players, says Lucky Singh. Okay, so let me lay it out for you all to play it out, guys, real quick. This is what Manchester United need. In my opinion, that's all it is, guys. Take it for what you will. But Man United need a striker or 2. We need 2 strikers. We need to get rid of Tony Marcio and sign 2 really good strikers. I'd go get Kane from Tottenham and Victor Osimhen. I'd go get both of them. That's big investment. It's going to take a lot of money, maybe 170 mil to get both of those guys. But that's your goal sorted then. That's your goal sorted. Then I would go and get an absolute baller midfielder, box-to-box type guy. Somebody like a Bellingham would be nice. But if he's not available, then it would be nice to go and get somebody who can create and be a spark in the midfield. You know, like a Frankie de Jong, he would fit Ten Hag nicely down to the ground. Why not? Ambition. It takes ambition to do that, but he would be excellent. Yeah, Declan Rice would be nice, but we've got Casemiro. I think Declan Rice would be a good acquisition. You know, it's just that I think we could probably do with another foil for Cassie at this moment in time. If you're going to go and get De Jong, go and get Paulinho over at Fulham. Go and get a cheeky little defensive midfield backup for Cassie and somebody that can come in and help with all the fixtures throughout the season. Then we need a centre-back and somebody that can replace Harry Maguire. Get rid of Harry Maguire. Go and get a proper baller centre-back in there. Take your pick, really. But, I mean, I do think that Ten Hag would probably be interested in Jurriën Timber because of his youth and his links there and the fact he's reasonably versatile. So that could be somebody that could come in to back up. And that's all we need is a backup for Varane and Martinez. We don't need necessarily an absolute baller to come in and be a starter, because we want somebody who's happy to be a bit more sporadic to begin with, i.e. a young player who's developing their game and somebody that can come in and replace the injured Varane, which will happen all the time. So, you know, that's basically where I'm at, really. We need about 5 or 6 stunning players and a couple of goal scorers, and we would be sorted out. And yeah, I mean, maybe a right back Rajat, but I do think that Wan-Bissaka's come on leaps and bounds. Is he truly world class, though? I mean, what you've got to ask yourself is if we can get somebody better, then go for it. But, you know, I do think Wan-Bissaka's actually a really good player. Crazy Joe Davola, thank you for your highlighted member comment and being a member for 6 months. Let's go. Thank you very much, Crazy Joe. Let's get a hashtag 6 in there. Thanks for supporting this channel for 6 months. You legend. He says, Piggy to go for oil is so funny. You what? Not that kind of oil, my son. But no, in all fairness, look, if it's a choice between chemicals or oil, I go oil every single time, guys. You know, if it's a choice between chemicals and oil, I'm going oil. What about you guys? Chemicals or oil? What are you saying? Rushdie says, we just need upgrades on what we have. Not a massive job. 4 or 5, maybe 5 players. Yeah, there you go. So we need to get a couple of goal scorers in. We, I think, need to sell about 5, 6, 7, 8 players. So I'd get rid of the lone boys. I'd get rid of Bailly. I'd get rid of Telles. I'd get rid of Maguire. I'd get rid of Phil Jones. I'd get rid of McTominay. I'd get rid of Martial. I'd get rid of Fred. Probably get rid of those guys and then go and replace all of the, you know, more often than not. Yeah. Look to improve upon all of the positions there. You could keep Fred as a backup rotationary player, but should he be starting in big games? No. You want to have somebody who's better to start. We've got Eriksen. He's a very good player alongside Casemiro. But when those guys are not 100% fit and ready, you need some other options, which is where players like De Jong or Rice or Paulinho, these sorts of guys would come in. We need to have ambition and go and get the best players that we can, not just some bodies. I don't want another Wout Weghorst situation. We need to go and get the classiest players that we can. Chris Koo, I'd rather just go and get 2 or 3 players rather than 5 or 6 if it means we go and spend big money on key players that we need. Like expensive players, but are really good players. I'd rather we just gone and got 2 or 3 than going to get 5 or 6 okay players. I don't want that. I want us to go and get the best of the best of the best now. That's what we need. There's surely only a few positions really need strengthening. The striker, the midfield, and a centre-back would be nice, and somebody could play right-back maybe. Chris Koo, thank you for your super chat, lad. He says, who's this sheikh anyway? Only ever seen one photo. It's just the same photo repeated over and over again, isn't it, Chris Koo? I know it's a good shout. There's like one photo of the guy. No, well, he's the son of the Sheikh Jassim Senior, isn't he? Who's like got something to do with the QSI Sports Investment Group, which is something to do with PSG. But in order to, I think it is anyway. But in order to, I could be wrong there actually, guys. But it's basically like it's almost like a subsidiary, but it's not. It's just like basically, I don't know. It's like if you went for a speeding camera and you got 6 points coming on your license, but you just like put them onto your wife's license instead. You know what I mean? That's basically what's going on, I think, mate. Anyway, Chris Koo, thank you very much for that super chat, though. I appreciate you, my friend. Sounds sus, says the man. It's a little bit suspect. I'll give you that. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Rushmana says Timber's a good option. Can play centre-back, right-back, and probably DM. Exactly. He would be a good option. And he's got that Ten Hag link, the Dutch vibes, the Ajax vibes. That would be a good option, no doubt. So Jim Ratcliffe, 100% says Dylan Sukari. Boomy says, I've got a feeling the PSG owner is the one interested in Man United and Sheikh is just a random man, says Boomy. Lucky Singh says Jury and Timber. Well, you've got you've got Qatari Sports Investment, and then you've got the other one, which is Qatari, what's the other one? It's another abbreviation. It's a few letters. But basically, they're both kind of like filtered through the Qatari government. You know, it's like a little bit of a grey area here, guys. But it's like they set up these subsidiaries in order to sort of buy, you know, clubs legitimately without having the issues that would be presented if they QIA, yeah, that's it. Without having the issue. So, I mean, who really knows who owns them, guys? Who really knows? You know what I mean? Exactly. Rushmana says QSI equals the same billionaire group. Precisely. So it's kind of like from the Qatari government, there's people involved. There's lots of fingers in lots of different pies here. And it's like an umbrella organization that's going down like this. So it is a bit sus. But anyway, yeah, Luke says, Pig, remember when those fake agents met Woodward pretended to represent Andre Herrera? I think they pretended to be Qataris now, says Luke. And Herrera, yeah. QSI and QAI are different company. They are different companies, indeed, Rashapvi. Yes, they are, mate. But they're essentially, you know, like I say, the Qatari government is somewhat involved, if you know what I'm saying here. But they're essentially set up to not be the Qatari government. But everybody knows that they are. It's that kind of deal, mate. Allegedly, you know. Okay, Simon says, each time Maguire steps foot onto the pitch, he just causes trouble. So let's sell him to a championship club, then we don't have to play against him. Yeah, that's a good idea, mate, absolutely. Or even a League One club. Good shout, just free transfer him. I would free transfer him in the summer, guys. I'm not even kidding around. Listen, if there's no buyer for him, mutually terminate the deal or free transfer him. Yeah, you've got to pay off the remainder of his contract. But that's better than having him at the club. You know what I mean? You've got to pay him either way. Either his big mug's going to be around the club for the next few seasons, or he's pissed off somewhere else. Just do the Ronaldo situation. You know what I mean? But no, in all fairness, that's never going to happen. Manchester United would get money for Maguire. We'd get 20 million quid for him from a lower Premier League team. So it's actually pointless. We would definitely be able to sell him. He's an England player, end of the day. He's not a bad player. He's just also not a good player. He's an okay player. He would do well for Everton or Nottingham Forest or somebody like that. He would be fine. Yeah, Rushmana says Maguire to Newcastle would be a great deal for all parties, not joking. I mean, you know, I guess it would be a great deal for us. I mean, there is reports for interest from Newcastle in him, and the way that Newcastle play, I mean, they could kiss their epic goal scoring, you know, or I should say their epic goal defending statistics out the window, though, with Maguire in their back line. Although, look, if you're the right sort of team, like a team that plays with a lower defence, then he would be a good player for you. So he would be good for a lot of teams, but just not for what Ten Hag's trying to do, I don't think. Anyway, put Slabby on Flug It. Love to see him under the hammer, literally, says Simon Warner. Top 4 for them, and he keeps his England squad because he will play for them, says Rushmana. Yeah, I mean, if I was Eddie Howe, I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. But I can understand why they would want him. Look, essentially, he's one of England's first choice centre backs. On paper, he's a good addition for most teams on paper. But in reality, I don't think he is. Right, guys, we're going to have to wrap this video up now. It's been a great stream. Thank you, everyone, for getting in here. There's the latest. So if you're just getting in here, the Times reporting that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has moved a significant step closer to securing Manchester United, and the Glazers and their New York bankers are ready to discuss details of a sale with the British petrochemicals billionaire. And then also reports are that the Qataris believe they remain in the process, and that it could yet be the case that they would go in with another improved offer to try and quell the ambitions of Sir Jim Ratcliffe to convince the Glazers to sell the club to him. So, yeah, we have to wait and see what goes on, guys. In the next few days, we might hear more. But like Rushmano said earlier on, in a week's time, we'll probably have more information, but it's not expected that there'll be any movement for at least a few days. So just we'll have to wait and see what goes down, guys, in regards to whether or not Sheikh Jassim's going to make an improved offer. It could all be PR guff from the Glazers to try and squeeze more money out of the Qataris' bid. That could well be the case, and encourage them to make a fourth bid for $500 million more money, or whatever the case may be. Or they could genuinely have this preference for Sir Jim Ratcliffe because his offer is different. It's not the same offer at all. His offer is for a controlling stake to allow the Glazers to keep somewhere in the region of reportedly 20% of the football club, somewhere around that figure, and they could stay on board in some capacity, but obviously Sir Jim would have the controlling stake, but they still get to milk Manchester United dry and stand to make a couple of billy, no dramas, or a good few billion. So that's where we're at, really, guys. There's still two mostly interested parties. There's movement, but it seems like it's slow, and we don't know whether or not there's going to be improved bids coming in very, very soon. Thank you, Simon. He says, great stream. I'll be ready for the next one and hope for a win against Wolves on home turf, predicting 2-1 to United. Get in there, my son. Yes, indeed. We're looking for a good win tomorrow. We have to win. We've got to win. A nice one, Theatre MUFC. We'll be on FIFA tonight about 11 p.m, guys, 11 p.m-ish. So come back and join us then for a FIFA stream at 11 o'clock. I want to say thanks to everyone who's got in here tonight. Dutch Christ, Jonathan Gallagher, Wiggy, Rushmano, Massey81, Theatre MUFC Leeds fan, Rajat, Luke, Sphinxu, The Hoop Man, Matthew Smith, Simon Warner, Alex Core, Rajat, Lucky Singh, Jonathan Gallagher, Ashton Duke, Simon, Luman, The Hoop Man, Chris Koo, Boomy. And let's get some Glazers out in at the end of this stream. Absolutely. Hashtag Glazers out and hashtag Sir Jim out, to be honest. And the Vutinator, get in there with the Glazers out. Let's get some Glazers outs in the live chat. Thank you all for being here, guys. That's the end of the stream. Like the video before you go. Hit the subscribe button for the latest United news in a no clickbait, no guff way. And also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and Kick at Flying Pig United. And I'll catch you for the next piece of breaking Manchester United news, guys. The gaming Junior legend, get in there with the Glazers out, my son. Great to see you, by the way. Great to see you back streaming. Let's be having you. Mr. Leo G, Simon Warner, Sphinxu, John Boy, Rajat, Chris Koo, Duncan, PP, Jonathan, the Hoopman, and everybody else. That's it from me. Shout out to all the moderators, shout out to all the members, and everybody else in the live chat. Thanks for getting in and having your say. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. You've been watching The Pig on Flying Pig United. And remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, as this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.